Hello and welcome back to my humble show. Like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. If you like it, put a ring on it. Today, I am going to show you live footage of Joe Biden's approval rating. Oh! 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 Notice the person in the background who says, "Send it!" Oh, I see down here at the bottom of the video, the actions in this video are performed by professionals or supervised by professionals. Do not attempt. What? For some reason, I don't believe that she's a professional. I don't believe that this was carefully thought out in any sense. I do hope that she's okay, by the way. My guess is that she is. I don't know why she would have the impression that this would be a good idea or a safe idea. I mean, she went right through that, whatever that is. One thin mattress on one thin board is not going to hold you. No offense to you and your size. Or a lack of agility. I mean, she jumps awkwardly. How did she even climb over the railing in the first place without just plummeting unintentionally? I don't know. But that's besides any point that I have to make today. Yes, today I am not going to be showing you such footage. I'm not going to be showing you live footage of Joe Biden's approval ratings, or any ratings for that matter. I am going to be reacting to some clips which are on the Twitter account of Libs of TikTok. That's right, they share TikTok clips in which libs are losing their minds in one way or another, and I know that we can all lose our minds from time to time, but it does seem that there is a trend on the left of people taking things a little bit too far to the left. Actually, the reason why I'm making this video is because I made a similar video recently where I was reacting to Libs of TikTok clips. And it has since blown up, at least to a certain extent. I will show you here. Here is my previous video. Randomly reacting to libs or liberals of TikTok. So you could say that I was reacting to literal liberals of TikTok, or you could say that I was reacting to the Twitter account of Libs of TikTok. Either way, I have to shout out Libs of TikTok because, hey, they're bringing the goods, and I'm just reacting to their actions. But yes, that previous video of mine has 740 views now. It did not start out that way, but over the last few days, and then some, it has gone zoop, 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 zoop. I am grateful for that. I'm hoping that this video will produce similar results. Either way, I'm going to enjoy this, and at the same time, be saddened by this. But it's worth noting that someone in the comments of my previous video said something which I found to be interesting. And I'll read it for you. Someone said, "Your vids are awesome." Okay, thank you very much. But someone else said, "First-time viewer, 4 minutes explaining the title? I hope you get better at this or find something else to do." Huh. I said in response to them, "Nah, man. In the first 4 minutes, I talked about my cat, my lunch, my day, libs, leftists, crazy people in general, my philosophy on craziness, libs of TikTok, got a shout out before I react, and I was just getting started. If you have such a short attention span, go straight to TikTok and enjoy the plethora of short-winded bloviating. Thanks for the feedback, and I'll be sure to make my next intro 5 minutes in honor of you. And it sounds a little salty, but it was all good. It was all good in the neighborhood. He responded to me, "Hey, it's your show, man. You do you. Your cat will love it." I'm not sure if that's a insult or a compliment. Well, I know it's not a compliment, but I'm not sure if it's insult. Either way, I don't really feel insulted. That's fine. That's dandy. I said, haha, okay, fair enough. So shout out to you as well, Dan Benzel. I don't care if you're insulting me. I don't care if you're complimenting. I just feel grateful that you stopped by and shared your thoughts with me. I mean that sincerely. I doubt you're watching this since you don't like my videos, apparently. But if you are, again, shout out to you. Shout out to anyone else. Shout outs all across the board. And to my wife is home. Okay, my wife is gone now, or at least she has gone to bed, so I should be able to move right along as long as my cat will leave me alone. Whenever he starts pestering me too much, I pull out this laser. He chases it around for a few minutes, and then back to business. My cat is just staring at me, plotting on my death. Or my life. Is it life or death? It's no life or death situation. So, yeah. Back to the articulation. Let me know if you'd like to see my cat chase a laser, by the way. I might can work something out. I'm sure he would be happy to oblige. Yes. But, back to whatever I was talking about. Oh, yes. I had intended to make this intro exactly 5 minutes long, true to my word, which I spoke into the comments of that previous video. But because I'm scatterbrained, also catterbrained, which is a dumb pun, but I'm gonna roll with it. You gotta roll with the punches. Yes. I don't know if this intro has been 5 minutes or less or more. I'm not sure. Either way, that's all I have to say for now. So let's get on with the show. And I am going to be reacting to clips courtesy of Libs of TikTok, literal liberals, and the aforementioned account on TikTok, which I could not do this without. Yes, shout out to them once again. Let's get into this. First and foremost, I saw it, so now you have to. Okay. I'm not talking about the ratings of Biden here, but I am talking about Biden here. Here we go.
Okay. Oop this out, ooh, ass this out, ooh, hit it. Oop this out, ooh, ass this out, ooh, hit it.
Real Nicocado. Avocado. You have put on quite the performance for us all. I'm not going to be watching that again anytime soon. Hey, you can dance better than I can, but it's not exactly my preference. We'll get into preferences. We'll get into pronouns. Some of them might astound you, and some of them might literally drown you in an ocean of emotion, or at least emotional trauma. Yeah, that's what we get from Libs of TikTok, or liberals of TikTok. We get a lot of identity politics, which will be the focus of today. It's only going to get worse from here, I guarantee you. What you see, you will not be able to unsee. What you hear, you will not be able to unhear. But hopefully you can endure it. Hopefully. Since we're on musical performances, here is another musical performance. The caption reads, "You're drinking a can of Coke, and the pull tab gets stuck in your nose. What is this all about, you may wonder? Well, wonder no longer."
Have you heard of LGBTQ plus? Well, I'm none of those. I am straight but support the LGBTQ plus community.
So the last person was very excited about Joe Biden. This performer, is excited about the LGBTQ plus community. So excited. You have something in your nose. This is so depressing. So depressing. This makes me want to give you a pop. And no, I don't condone violence at all. But in your case, I condone silence. All kidding aside, though, it is sad the lengths that people will go to in order to discover themselves. It's almost like people just go out shopping for an identity. And they might as well be an elf on a shelf, for that matter. I believe that we're all created equally in the image and eyes of God. Of course, people who don't believe that have to create or formulate their own sense of identity and equality. It gets a bit complicated, right? Everything is subjective. Everything is malleable. The self-discovery process never ends, and there isn't really any progress ultimately, because there is no objective definition for progress. There is nowhere in which to go, no destination, only an investigation of self. Whether the self is an elf on a shelf or something else. I don't literally mean an elf on a shelf. I just mean it's almost like we're shopping for value or worth or any other word you want to label it with. But yes, talking about pronouns, talking about labels, talking about whatever we're talking about here. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want to spoil the show. So let's get on with the show. One more performance. Soy Boy here, really changing people's minds. And no, Soy Boy will not be the first boy you see here. The first boy you see here is Almond Boy, who is looking for some almond joy and does not believe that he will find it in a girl with pronouns. He says, "I don't care what any liberal says. I'm not dating a girl with pronouns." Well, Soy Boy is just about to respond to Almond Boy and kill his almond joy. Yes, the real killjoy is stepping up to the plate. He is about to swing. Let's see if he strikes out.
Congratulations, that was one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen anybody post on the internet before. Congratulations, the bar is high cause people post lots and lots of stupid things, but your stupid thing was somehow the leader of the pack. You just said, "I don't know what pronouns are, and I won't learn cause learning's hard. Instead I'll regurgitate a half-baked stolen opinion. People like you make me sad, 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 sad."
What did you think about that? I think that is by far the best performance yet. Of course, I'm talking about myself, my own performance. No, I'm just kidding. That was actually pretty good. The singing and the dancing, although mostly just the overall performance, I'm serious. That's pretty good stuff. Of course, I disagree with the content. I disagree with the context. But still, the entertainment value is there. I've seen some other videos from him. Some of them are good. Some of them not so much. I would reach completely different conclusions than him, I'm sure. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. It was a good workout for me. Obviously. Okay, enough said. Not wanting to date a trans person is transphobic. This is actually a very common belief, which is held among not just the trans people, but anyone who involves themselves in the trans community.
Alright, I'm ready for all the hate comments, but if you're a cisgender person and you don't want to date a trans person just because of the fact that they're trans, you're transphobic, my friend.
At least I'm your friend. I'm glad I'm not your enemy. That is what is most important. I do wonder, would you apply the same logic the other way around? I mean, if someone doesn't want to date a cisgender person because they're a cisgender person, would you say that the person who does not want to date the cisgender person is cisgenderphobic or cisphobic? Would you say that? Because if you say that, at least you're somewhat consistent, right? I still think you're a bit delusional, but at least you're consistent, and I can respect that much. But no, I don't respect the use of the word cisgender in the first place, so there's that. I think it's a nonsensical term that has been twisted, if not made up altogether, by people who want to play a role in that pursuit of self-identification. As though there is no identifying characteristics about us to begin with, other than the ones that we just gravitate towards along the way. No, you're either male or you're female. You grow up and you grow out of nonsensical ideas. Or at least you should. There are many choices that we can make in life, but none of them involve us redetermining reality. At least not in reality, but in many people's minds. Community is reality. And everybody wants to be part of a community because there is unity and community. Ironically enough, though, many people in many unified communities are very divisive and very divided when it comes to anyone outside of their community, their particular community of unity. Which is why they so often and so quickly begin to vilify people like me who disagree with their notions. And that is why I am left to drown in an ocean of emotion, hurt that I might be called transphobic. No, I don't consider myself transphobic. I don't have any desire to be transphobic. I'm just calling it like it is. It's difficult to speak over the talking points sometimes, especially considering how many there are out there right now. And there is an increasing amount of them. But yes, moving on. This makes absolutely zero sense. Let's see if I agree. Let's see if you agree.
Okay, I'm half in cosplay, but this is important. I'm so fucking angry. I made a video about being a lesbian with a boyfriend. My boyfriend is non-binary, he prefers masculine terms, and he uses he, they pronouns. And I explained that in the comment section. And I am still getting people who are telling me that I'm not a lesbian. My partner is non-binary. I am non-binary. I am a non-man who is in love with a non-man. So if you guys could sharpen up your reading comprehension skills and stop trying to push labels on me, that'd be fucking excellent.
Wait. Leave that middle finger in the air for just a moment. Riddle me this. How is it that your boyfriend, I emphasize boyfriend, how is it that your boyfriend is a non-man? Maybe you just messed up. Maybe you just got a little bit mixed up in your explanation there. But no, it doesn't make sense. Does it? Let me play that one more time.
Okay, I'm half in cosplay, but this is important. I'm so fucking angry.
And apologies for the language. I tried to choose clips which had limited language, limited foul language. I don't have time to go through and to bleep everything. Most of you probably don't care anyways, but, you know.
I made a video about being a lesbian with a boyfriend.
Lesbian with a boyfriend. Lesbian with a boyfriend. Lesbian with a boyfriend. Wait, how does that work? How does your... you know what your problem is? You're dating a boy. Maybe you need to grow up a little bit and then date an actual man. Date for marriage, not for narratives. Not to say that everyone who dates amongst the LGBTQ plus community members is dating for narratives, but, you know, I'm saying that people are very, very, very confused, and they end up just using each other and labeling each other and labeling themselves and then demanding that other people not label them while they're labeling themselves or themselves. You get the point.
My boyfriend is non-binary, he prefers masculine terms, and he uses he/they pronouns.
Okay. He, she says, uses he/they pronouns. So he is a he, but he is also something else. Is he like multiple people? Is that how you're applying they in this case? Is he multiple people? You might as well just say that your pronouns are single and plural, or better yet, single and multiple. Hi, I'm single. Hi, I'm multiple. Wait, what? How can you be both? Maybe you're just saying that you are anything you want to be. You cannot be labeled, right? Well, then stop labeling yourself. Because basically what you're saying, whether intentionally or unintentionally, is, I am this one thing, get it right, and also I am anything, get it right, in which case you can't really get it right because you are anything. You could be anything. I'm not saying you should be anything particular. I'm saying you are male or female. It's as simple as that. You know? I'm not saying you have to live in a certain stereotypical way. I'm not saying that you have to like certain things. But you can't just keep making up new concepts, new constructs, and demanding that people abide by them. You probably believe that everything is a concept, everything is a construct. That's a very destructive ideology. It's not constructive at all. It's destructive. You belittle yourself while demanding that other people see you as big, something bad, something bold. That's why you're talking tough, as though you are something, while you are basically admitting that you are nothing. Because if you can be anything, then you can be everything. And if you can be everything, then you are no different than anything else. And you are basically as good as nothing or no thing. Not to say that you are no thing, but in your ideology, I would imagine that ultimately, at the end of the day, you are no thing. Since, good grief, am I reading a Dr. Seuss book talking about thing 1 and thing 2 here? It's too much. Too much. What the unchecked mental illness? I don't want to use that term lightly, although I'm just quoting someone else's caption here. By someone, once again, I mean Libs of TikTok. Check out their account. But yes, enough of my face. Enjoy this.
This is what we're not going to do. The cis people have been getting what they want for forever. If you want to call chest feeding breastfeeding, I don't give two shits. But on my platform, where I want to make people from the alphabet mafia more comfortable because I am a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm going to continue to say chest feeding. We live in a society where the word breast has been over-sexualized by the men, by the cis men. So for a lot of us, chest feeding just feels less sexualized. But again, there are those who are non-binary and those who go by other pronouns who feel more comfortable with the word chest feeding.
If you don't have breasts, you're not doing any feeding. So yes, it is breastfeeding, not chest feeding. Despite what you might think in that very colorful head of yours. Personally, the hair is kind of cool. Not that I want that color of hair. But, you know. You do you. And think about discontinuing your efforts to tell other people what to do. Especially with that attitude. Especially with that lack of intelligence. To be fair, maybe you're not trying to tell other people what to do. Maybe you're just emphatically telling them not to tell you what to do. But, although it is your platform, it is a public platform, and if you put yourself out there publicly, if you put your views out there publicly, people have the right to view them. People have the right to view your views. People have the right to criticize your views. So don't get it confused. Another thing that was said about the sexualization of women by men. I would agree with that. That is true. Men do that. But in large part, women do that. If you disagree with me, just look up Cardi B or any other pop star. All the big names. All they do is sell their body in one way or another. Time and time again, I've seen women who sell their sexuality and basically their souls. They market their bodies to men in the name of female empowerment, although it's changing since the term female no longer holds any meaning. But then they turn around and they claim that men are sexualizing them, that men are objectifying them. They're objectifying themselves, you know? That's not to justify the onlooking eyes of the men who are guilty of lusting. I'm not an advocate of lust at all. But I'm not an advocate of many things. Many of these destructive things, or any of these destructive things. I'm not an advocate of any of them. So no, I'm not your ally. I'm not your enemy. I'm not even an enemy of your movement, but I am a friend of truth. And if I don't see the truth in you, well, then your message is not one I'm going to promote or push. Here's another term for you. Birthing individual. They don't understand basic logic. Listen to this woman's response to the following caption. Birthing individual? You, of all people, should know how sacred it is to women to be the only ones to give birth. That sounds logical, but the response is slightly less than.
So to start, why is it my responsibility to know shit? Like, who put that responsibility on me? Secondly, you just effectively shat on the women that I guess you're trying to defend because you're gatekeeping womanhood. So what? You said only women give birth. So if I don't give birth as a woman, then I'm no longer a woman?
What? I must say that it looks like you fell headfirst into a bucket of paint. And then into another bucket of paint. And then into another bucket of paint. And then into another... Yeah, you get the point. She says that if we claim that women give birth, then we are claiming that any woman who does not give birth is a man. That is the claim she is making. An attempt to disprove all of us geniuses. She is claiming that if we say that only women give birth, what we are really saying is that any woman who does not give birth is not actually a woman. That is like me saying, well, because men grow beards, if I don't grow a beard, then I must be a woman. That's not even on the same playing field either, because some women actually do have a beard somewhat, you know, because of chemical imbalances or something like that. But a chemical imbalance is not going to help you produce a baby as a man. That is honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever heard anyone say. Her conclusion is clearly rooted in confusion. Maybe she was just having a bad day, psychologically. Hopefully she gets better in that case. And actually the hair looks kind of cool, to be honest. Once again, I cannot criticize people based upon how they look. I'm just trying to be a little bit funny in response to these serious matters. These seriously funny matters. Yeah, the hair is just fine. Go for it. I'm all for diversity of appearance. Despite some people taking it far too far. But when it comes to human nature, there is a nature to it. And we as humans must maintain our sanity in order to maintain our humanity. You're literally a girl, reads this caption. Let's find out if you literally are a girl.
So, a lot of y'all keep referring to me as a girl in the comments, and check the hashtags. Check my bio. Clearly, I'm not a girl. I identify as androgynous non-binary. I prefer they, them pronouns. I go by them. I prefer gender-neutral compliments. And if you're going to try and come at me with some bullshit about it, being a real gender, you can get the hell out of here, because I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to deal with it, because you're speaking bullshit. Gender is a spectrum, honey. It's primordial, not binary.
Check the hashtag. Ooh wee. If I hashtag dinosaur, it must be because I'm a dinosaur.
She says, it's all a spectrum. Okay, if it's all a spectrum, then identify as spectrum. Put hashtag spectrum in your profile. Tell everyone that your gender is spectrum. If it's all a spectrum, it is all nothing. Once again, something is everything, and therefore everything is nothing. Well, at least it's no different than anything else, and therefore might as well be called nothing. Something is something only if it stands out from everything else. But if everything is a spectrum, everything is a malleable spectrum, you're basically admitting to making up things as you go along. You're saying, since it can be anything, since it can be everything, I'm going to pick which thing it is, and I'm going to demand that you call it what I say you should call it, what I say you should call me based upon what I see, even though you could see something completely different. Since it's all subjective. If you can make it up as you go along, then someone else can make it up as they go along. And if we can all just make it up as we go along, then who are we to tell anyone else that they are wrong in A, how they identify themselves, or B, how they identify us. If your standard is that you get to believe whatever you want to believe about yourself, then anyone else's standard can be that they can believe whatever they want to believe about you. If you disagree with that, that's fine. But if you want to implement your belief into them, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to implement your belief into them. You have to say, I am okay with everything as long as I am okay with it. We are really headed nowhere fast here. But that is liberalism for you. That is leftism for you. And here's another one for you. South Carolina preschool teacher makes her students call her Mix instead of Mr. or Miss because she's non-binary. Is she, though? I should point out that if you're going from Mr. or Miss or Mrs. to Mix, you're not escaping labels. You're just adding a different one. You're not proving that you're non-binary. You're just adding a new label to the binary. But that's what people do. Because there is no escaping reality, ultimately.
Okay, guys, I can't. This is too funny. So I'm at work, and those of you who don't know me, I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a preschool teacher. So instead of using Mr. or Miss, we use Mix. So the kids have been really awesome doing that. I work with 3 and 4 year olds. One of my kiddos came up to me and he goes, "Are you mixed up? Are you mixed up?" I was like, "No, sweetie, I'm not mixed up. I just use Mix instead of Mr. or Mrs." And he's like, "Okay, I was worried."
You should become a musical artist, like the people in the first couple of clips. Yeah. You could put out a mixtape. Sorry, I went there. That is a pretty good joke on the part of the student, if they were actually meaning to joke. Mixed up. Are you mixed up? That's pretty good. At least this particular person is willing to laugh at the joke. So, I'm not going to condemn you too much, my friend. My friend. But I will say that you probably shouldn't be teaching kids. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. It's no wonder why kids are so confused these days. It's no wonder why kids are becoming more and more mixed up. No surprise at all. Here's another one. Speaking of being mixed up, long way of saying I am mentally ill. I would actually agree that this person appears to be mentally ill. I don't think that's going out on a limb at all.
Hi everyone, my name is Bunny. I use bun pronouns. I identify as gender fey. What does being gender fey mean? Gender fey is a type of non-binary gender fluid identity that ranges between agender and feminine with no feelings of masculinity. There is no single set point. It can move around. There are associated identities that are in that family. There is gender fawn, which is similar but never encompasses feelings of femininity. There's gender fair, which is a form of gender fluidity that never encompasses completely, entirely being male. So there are feelings of masculinity. It's just not identifying as male. Then there is gender floor, which is a form that never encompasses male, female, masculine, feminine. It is a type of gender fluidity that only encompasses agender or non-binary identities. And there we have the gender fey family of identities.
I'm not going to say anything specific about the appearance. But I do think that the overall performance, the body language, the attitude, and the action is evidence to me that there is trouble involved. If not trauma, there is trouble involved. I think that so many of these people, so many of these individuals, these confused and sometimes delusional individuals have experienced trauma in their lives. I think that so many of them have been abused. Used and abused. I know that. Many of them will tell you that they have been molested or raped at some point in the past. Most of the time in their childhood. Whether it's by a friend or a family member or a stranger. So I do have to be careful not to make light of the possibility that the reason why people are the way they are is because of some past experience that I myself may never have recovered from. Of course, just me saying that could make me sound like a bigot to anyone who is sympathetic or pathetic towards the LGBTQ plus community. When I say pathetic, I don't mean these people in these clips, in these videos. I mean the people, whether on the inside or the outside, who just vilify anyone like me who disagrees with them and their movement. Hot off the press. Plasiosexual. Let's learn something.
Sorry for getting to this question so late. I was out doing stuff with friends, but plasiosexual is on the spectrum of being asexual. Basically, it means that I do not mind giving out sexual acts and pleasures, but when they're reciprocated to me, I'm basically revolted by them, and it's a big turnoff for me. Here's the thing, plasiosexual is a micro-label that asexual sets a spectrum defined as someone who enjoys performing sexual acts for other people but does not want them reciprocated. Plasiosexual may be sex neutral or sex repulsed when it comes to having sexual acts performed on them.
Let me try to read that fast, really quickly. Plasiosexual is a micro. Did you follow that? I didn't at all. It's difficult enough to read when I'm actually reading it, much less listening to you read it. But I tried to keep up. I tried my best to keep up. LGBTA Wiki. That's where you're reading from. I think you need a new source. I do.
It is not the same thing as me being a top or dominant. It's just due to body dysmorphia and trauma. I don't want people looking and sexually touching my body.
Body dysmorphia and trauma. I didn't actually expect that, but that goes along with what I said in response to the last clip. She says, in a roundabout way, that she has experienced trauma of some sort. That is what I don't want to make light of. It sounds to me like she is insecure. Many people are. Everybody is. We all have different insecurities. At least most of us, if we're human. And indeed, we all are human. Sometimes people take their insecurities and turn them into personalities. And then they use their personalities to determine their identity. You're not going to find your personhood in your personality. So don't get caught up in the politics of identity. I think I have just a few more of these clips left, and then I will wrap it all up. If you're anorexic, you're just fat phobic. Now we're switching up just a little bit from genders to slenders.
What is it with people
who have eating disorders and are thin that refuse to believe they are fat phobic because of their eating disorder. I've been in treatment for months, and these bitches are like, no, I can't be fat phobic. It's my eating disorder's fault. Your eating disorder is fat phobic. No one said it was your fault, but it's still fat phobic. You have to understand that eating disorders with the intention to control weight are rooted in fat phobia. And without that, you can never fully recover from your eating disorder or have a healthy relationship with food. And if you are not treated like a fat person in society, calling yourself fat in a derogatory way is harmful to actual fat people.
Listen to that last point one more time.
Calling yourself fat in a derogatory way is harmful to actual fat people.
Calling yourself a victim in a derogatory way is actually harmful to actual victims. Calling yourself oppressed is harmful to the people who have actually been oppressed. Well, it's not really harmful to most of them because most of them lived in the past. They're dead now, so you can't really harm them. But I wish that you would make a little bit more sense of your own logic there and apply it more consistently across the board. And maybe you do. A lot of people don't, of course. What she is saying is that anyone who doesn't want to be fat is fat phobic. I don't want to be fat. Does that mean I'm fat phobic? According to her, it does. Especially if I'm taking treatment. Especially if I look at myself in the mirror and think, I'm getting a little bit fat. I need to cut back on the chips and soda, which is so depressing. That's ridiculous. In other words, the world belongs to fat people. And there are two types of people. Those who are fat and those who are fat phobic. Maybe she hates herself. Maybe she wants to be fat. Maybe she is herself someone who deals with an eating disorder. And what she is saying is based upon resentment for herself or for someone else who has overcome their eating disorder. I don't know. I have no idea. See if you can make sense of that. Let me know if I missed something there. I don't think there is much to make sense of there. American citizen is a racialized term now. What about a Swedish citizen? Why is it that people apply this logic specifically to Americans in so many cases, even though we're the most diverse nation of all?
I just got out of a lecture and my professor said something that really struck me that I feel like should have been super obvious that I...
Maybe that other woman was your teacher.
just had not like connected the dots on before, and that is the fact that the term American citizen is like a racialized term. It's associated with whiteness, whether we want it to or not, because of the way that white supremacy is so like intricately bound with the foundation of the country that we call America, that when you hear the word American citizen, the first thing that comes to mind is a white person. And what's crazy is I have this super vivid memory when I was only like maybe like 5 or 6 years old. My mom was just about to get her citizenship and she was like, yo, I'm going to be an American citizen. And I was like freaking out because I fully thought that my mother was going to turn into a white woman. And obviously she didn't, but it's just crazy to me how at such a young age I already was conditioned to think that American citizen meant white by default.
You're just conditioning yourself in a different way now. You heard a talk from a teacher, which makes me glad that I did homeschool. Of course, that doesn't bode well for kids who have parents that are caught up in all of this ideological mumbo-jumbo. It is strange how people apply this logic to America while failing to apply it to other countries, like in Africa, where most of the people are black. Would you say about black people what you are saying about white people? Would you? Again, America is the most diverse nation in all the earth. You should be grateful that you are here. If you are. Right now, people are fleeing Afghanistan to get to here. People are fleeing Mexico and other countries to get to here, since most of them aren't actually coming from Mexico when they come across the border. Just because most people in America are white, just because when people on the outside think of a white person when they think of America, which is understandable because most of the people in America are white, does not mean that the name America is racialized. And if it is, it's because people like you, people who are like you ideologically, of course, are racializing it. America means diversity. America means liberty. If you have it, quit complaining. A lot of people have it a lot worse. And I don't see you applying your logic to them. Okay. Enough said. I'm starting a GoFundMe to purchase a mirror for this person. Just wanted to remind you all how gorgeous I am. That one's a little harsh because it is focused solely upon the looks. I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but they are making a few statements by taking this picture, by taking this selfie, and I would take issue with those statements. Still, I am no bigot. I am no hater. I am simply an articulator. Hopefully. Who wants to tell her?
So y'all are telling me a white dude can just drive up to the Capitol, be like, I have a bomb, and law enforcement will take him alive. But when it's a black teenage girl with a knife, or a little black boy with a toy, or a black man selling Lucy's, nah, they were too threatening. They had to be not alive. At this point, if you don't see it, you're just a racist, and I would actually prefer if you just say that instead of trying to make excuses. Just own up to it.
Okay, let's diagnose this. Let's dissect this. Bit by bit. White dude driving up to the Capitol. Yes, this happened last week. The white dude who drove up to the Capitol claimed to have a vehicle full of explosives. They're not going to shoot at him if they are afraid that he is going to blow them up, or if they are afraid that shooting him and his vehicle is going to blow them up. So there's that. Also, I'm sure they would have shot him if he would have opened fire on them. He never did that. He sat there and live streamed. He said a bunch of stupid stuff, and then he was taken into custody. You should be glad that he is alive. Well, take that for what it's worth. I'm not all on board with this idea of wishing that white people would be killed just so we can feel justified, or just so that we can feel like the cops are being consistent and killing white people like they supposedly kill black people. Like, what kind of thoughts have to go around in your head for you to wish death upon a white person who is committing a crime simply because they're white? If you were framing it as if to suggest that black people shouldn't be killed, rather than framing it as if to suggest that white people should be killed, I would go a little bit easier on you. But it sounds like you're a racist, if anyone is here. Because you compare a white guy with multiple anecdotal examples of black people getting shot or killed by police. I'll just go through this piece by piece. Ma'Khia Bryant was shot by police because she was attempted to kill another black girl with a knife. So you could say that a white guy saved the life of a black girl. You could say that. Tamir Rice had a toy. And that toy was a gun. It was a toy gun, which appeared to be a real tragic situation here. But maybe you should place a little bit more responsibility on people such as parents. Eric Garner. That one is tragic as well. It's an example of many things going wrong. I pull up this video about his death. I pulled it up on YouTube earlier because it had been a while since I had thought about it or heard about it for that matter. But this here is or was Eric Garner. Big man. Very big man. He resisted arrest. He was tackled to the ground by multiple police officers. He was put in a headlock momentarily. But because of health conditions, which they were not aware of, he ended up dying. It was a combination of things. So, there are many different ways in which you can view this death. It is sad no matter how you view it. But there are many takeaways other than all cops are bad. That's a terrible takeaway. Terribly disingenuous. Or all white people are racist. I don't even know that the woman in the TikTok clip is making the claim that all cops are bad or that all white people are racist. But I think she is looking through a lens, a liberal lens, a leftist lens, which has skewed her views to the point where she cannot look at a white person or a cop without prescribing her own predetermined narratives to them. Which makes her a little bit racist. Just a little bit racist. LA Times having a normal one. Larry Elder is the blackface of white supremacy. You've been warned. Yeah. Black people can now be white supremacists. Or at least Larry Elder can be. Because it doesn't really have much to do with race in the end, does it? It has more to do with ideology. If you do not have the right think, then you get accused of wrong think. And you get called names by the people who do not like labels. Or at least the labels that they don't like, because they seem to like labels at the same time. That is amusing. Speaking of Larry Elder, I hope to talk about him in the near future. He's the top candidate in terms of defeating, not just competing, but defeating Gavin Newsom in the recall election process in California. But it is no surprise that people think of Larry Elder as a white supremacist, considering how people are saying things like this. It's not just black people either. It's a lot of white people. Half the time the black people say it because the white people are saying it.
Black ass parents who take their black ass kids to white ass neighborhoods to go to white ass schools better be prepared to take them to some black ass therapy.
There are a lot of black people who are racist. That's not racist for me to say. That's just accurate. And black people such as Larry Elder would agree with me. Oh wait, he's a white supremacist. So, if you don't like me, And I know you're not going to like him, and if you don't like him, then I know you're not going to like me. But you don't have to like us for us to be right. If I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to disagree with me on anything. Set me straight. Despite how straight I already am. I am getting a stomach ache, so I am going to take a break. Thanks for watching. Keep in touch, keep in tune. New content, new reactions coming soon. Peace.